Hey, welcome to Steve Davis Show. Special guest today is Bruce Carver, Rio Rancho Public Schools Athletic Director. And hey, Bruce, thanks for taking the time to come on and talk about all the activities that are going on in Rio Rancho this week.
I appreciate it. Great to be here. We got some fall weather out there. I was out there this morning at the stadium, nice and cool. And I was just thinking what a fun time of the year it is right now.
Well, let's start with the big game on Friday. The game, I think, in the state with 6A football this year, and that's Rio Rancho and Cleveland. Both teams undefeated. Cleveland 9-0 and Rio Rancho 7-0, 1-2 in the state. Two teams that have dominated their opponents throughout the year. And speak on that. How great is that?
Yeah, a couple of thoughts with that, Steve. One, you're right, it is exciting. Going to be a great atmosphere. When have we had two undefeated teams from our own district playing each other who are ranked 1 and 2 in the state? So it's a great draw. District championships on the line, right? Number 1 seeds on the line. With all that being said, it's not going to be near as big a game as down the road. And when you really look at it, we're both going to get seeded in the top 4, right? We're going to get seeded at home and the playoffs in front. So the loser of this game really shouldn't get too down about it because they're going to have another shot. And who knows, if they take care of business, all the way, they could meet again in the state championship game. It's very possible. So it is big in many, many ways, but it's not near as big as what could be here in 3 weeks.
Well, I think me looking, being outside and being more of a fan and producing a lot of the games and watching the games, for the last 14, 15 years, it's, if you look at the scores overall of all the opponents, this game is kind of there's a little bit of a hype and excitement to see really who's going to make the first blow, who's going to win this game, and what is the score going to be, and what's the defenses and the offense are going to do against each other. I think that's it's really you look at the game and it could be a toss up. It's you got 1 and 2 dominating offenses, dominating defenses. Against opposing teams, and I think that's what I'm looking for is just really to see who's going to throw that first blow this weekend.
Yeah, you're right. And Rio Rancho's lost 5 games in a row to Cleveland. Cleveland's gotten their head pretty good, and they haven't won at home since 2009. Okay, Rio Rancho has not beat Cleveland at home since 2009. That's a long time.
So you're throwing a little bulletin board material out there, right? So
yeah, but to factor that in, those are, you can't take away from Cleveland's been the most dominant team in large school football over the last decade, right? And Rio Rancho's probably been the second. They won a couple of state championships. With all that being said, I like to get into those things. I'm not really a football guy, so to speak, where I have tons of knowledge. I was able to do some games for you guys at ProView, and I really, really enjoyed the football because I love the atmosphere, Friday night lights, and the band and all that. But just as far as having great knowledge, I don't. I'm kind of like deep in the heart of hearts, more of a basketball guy like you are, Steve, because we both coached basketball, but we know enough to be dangerous. Probably we know just enough to talk about it for sure.
Well, I can read stats, and something that you may or might not know of is that, 5 out of the last 10 years, Cleveland or Rio Rancho has won the state championship. And starting back in 2011, Cleveland won it. 2016, Rio Rancho. 2014, and 2015, Cleveland won it. 2016, Rio Rancho. 2019, Cleveland, and a couple of those, Cleveland was in the finals. So, both programs, are I'll just go back to you and I when we were growing up. The Southern dominated, and in the last 5 years, the northern part of the state has really stepped its game against the southern part of the state.
Yeah, we've done well, and we're very proud of that. Both our football programs, we're proud of both of them. And but when you talk about a rivalry between which you have rivalries all over that are going to happen. Belen, Los Lunas are going to play Friday night, I believe. Cibola, Volcano. If one team doesn't win, ever so often, it doesn't become much of a rivalry. So, I wasn't the athletic director last year when I saw Rio and Cleveland play. I believe I had that game on ProView, but Rio Rancho kind of laid an egg last year, getting beat 42-0. And this really was kind of disappointing from the standpoint, as a district AD, I want to see a good game. I want to see both teams. Yeah. Rio Rancho just went out and they would have had to play really well because Cleveland had one of the best football teams I've seen in really my time here. I think they had the best team, and it's unfortunate they didn't actually, play 10 games, a full season, and have a state championship and all that. But it was the best team I'd seen. So that's partly understandable. But at the same time, Rio Rancho went out and did not play well. They would have had to play extremely well to have any kind of a chance. But you can't have turnovers. I know that much as we talk about this game. I do know that much about football. A lot of times it comes down to some turnovers are real critical.
Well, critical field position, those are the things that can change the complexity of a ball game, and basically who reacts to what that's going to happen. I just believe with both these defenses and both these, there's going to be some mistakes made that could be the difference, be really the determining factor of what the outcome of this game comes to be. But we've got so much people talking. I mean, people are texting me and making sure that we know the game's at 6 o'clock. I want to let you know that I get probably an email or a text about every 15, 20 minutes talking about, the game has been changed to 6. It is going to be on My 50. I want to thank My 50 for taking the time to change their schedule and get that game. They realize the value and how important it is to the community of Rio Rancho and also the state of New Mexico.
Right. We are going to play that game at 6 o'clock. And I think at the end of the day, when you look at that 6 o'clock start time, it's actually going to help us in some ways. And we've had some problems with some security and safety issues for one, but this will help us. We're going to have, start the game, going to get the game over earlier. Both our bands are going to be there for the entire contest. And that is an important part of our pageantry of high school football. They're a big part of our what we do. So they're both going to be there throughout the whole game, and that's going to be fun. So, 6 o'clock. Hope everybody knows that. We tried to get the word out. Don't show up at 6. That's not going to work. Show up early, whatever that is to you, but you don't want to be trying to get in the parking lot at 10 till 6. You want to be there for the whole game. Get there early and be ready to enjoy this thing. It's going to be great weather. It's supposed to be, not extremely cold Friday night. So everything's set.
I'll tell you what, Bruce, we're going to go to the Dream Style Top 10 Plays a Week, come back, talk more about Rio Rancho sports.
Gets it over for West Mesa. Scheller, and that's a point. Great rally that time. But we got a first tip for La Cueva after they hold on downs at the Manzano 32-yard line. Armenta straight over the middle, and La Cueva immediately scores.
Booming shot towards the back post and tucked in. Neal will take the snap. Clean pocket. He steps up into it and he'll throw it into an interception. Streaking down the field, the Cougars come alive and put 6 on the board. It's Evan Ferguson.
Tries to bend it, going right at goal. It's there, in. Find it right there.
Vigil gets up to speed. Vigil cutting back. Vigil still on his feet. Oh, hail the king for the touchdown.
They're going to give it to him.
Keeper will boot that one long. Here's a chance for Belen. Oh, man. Here it is. Belen, first goal of the game belongs to the Eagles. What a play, and you know who gets the assist on that one is the goalkeeper.
They step up by Reed, who's done that a couple of times tonight. But Trujillo is able to shed and puts it back into space. Bynum's there. It's a race, and that one's going to dribble in. Bynum with a brace.
For Chavez and Lopez, they have been a poke duo all season. Chavez stands in the pocket. He's got plenty of time, but he keeps going backwards. He's looking for Lopez over the top, and he gets him! So...
For Fabiano Valdez.
Exactly.
Haskett Bell looking deep. And it is incomplete. It ended up falling at the feet of Tristan Cordova. There's an injured player on the field. No. That got picked.
Outstanding play.
Watch the end of this play. So the ball pops up, then off a shoulder, off a leg, and intercepted.
Hey, welcome to Steve Davis Show. We got special guest today is Bruce Carver at Rio Rancho Public School Athletic Director. And Bruce, we talked about, again, the start time, 6 o'clock. Going to open the gates between 4 and 4:30. So get there early to make sure, you get the seat and the seats you want. So that's probably the biggest thing you can tell and it's also, remind people that that's high traffic in the city of Rio Rancho.
Yeah, no doubt. We got to encourage you to get there, guys. I would get there, 4:30, 5:30 at the latest. Get in the parking lot, get your seat, and be ready. I think we're going to be able to. I feel like we're going to be able to hold everybody, but I have to tell you, it's not the biggest stadium. We seat just under 6,000, and we've got about 300 extra seats that we brought in. If we needed it. But so far, we've never actually been to capacity completely in that stadium. Been close, played 2 state championships in there, but we feel pretty good that we can get everybody in there. But it's going to be a heck of a game, Steve.
So that's kind of a goal of yours, just to fill that stadium. It hasn't been deal, so people don't be turned away. You can, let's get it filled up.
Yeah, there's no doubt that's been a goal, and I think it's going to be a great atmosphere. I will say Rio Rancho Stadium, even not the largest stadium, but the atmosphere is incredible. And I think part of it, they don't have a track around the stadium, so it's a little more intimate. As you know, you've been there many, many times. We've set up in the press box and talked, and you can. It's very close. The players are close to the fans on the field, and I think it makes for a great little football atmosphere.
Well, I tell you, besides the game, you got some special athletes at Rio Rancho and Cleveland, and speak on their behalf and talk about. There's a lot besides the game. There's for these athletes that we're going to speak about.
Yeah, there's so many that I really, to get into it too much, you'd leave somebody out. But I think you have to talk about the offensive leaders. Because that's going to be a big key to the ball game. From what I see, I think if you're Cleveland, you better be concentrating on Zach Vigil, who arguably is one of the best running backs in the state, if not the best. But he's a special back, and he's been around a long time. He's fast, not super fast, but fast on the football field, and he's strong. He'll go get an extra 2 yards after contact. After contact, he'll get an extra couple of yards because he drives his legs. So he's a special back, and They're going to, the kid's probably going to get 20 carries at least, and then he's going to be able to catch the football too, right? So he's a key. And then Cleveland with their quarterback, Wysong, we know the other Wysong. It's pretty special for UNM, but this young man, he's track fast. I mean, he is so fast. And, he's not only that, he can throw the ball. He really surprises me as a sophomore or junior, Steve.
I want to say he's a junior.
Okay.
So, but I could be
throwing
the ball.
solid. The way he throws the football too, he's a dual threat. And it doesn't take a genius to see as a defense, you better try to slow him down. You're not going to stop him. And I don't think Cleveland will stop V-Hill. You've got to slow him down. That's, if you could just slow him down some, they're going to get loose some. There's no doubt.
So what I like about both those players, Bruce, and we've had them on My 50 and we have them on, Pro V, and I've watched them from the start to even on the games that they exceeded the game was out of reach for the opposing opponents. But decision making, is they let the game come to them. They don't force anything. I mean, you may stop, V-Hill maybe one or two times or whatever, but he knows that he's got that both of them have that confidence that they know that any moment they can make that big play, and they let the game come to me, or they let the defense dictate to them when they're going to make that big play.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I've been just super impressed with both players. Wysong is just, man, I was impressed with him. He's just so fast and can run and throw the ball too in the open field. He can make plays. So Rio Rancho has their work cut out with that kind of a quarterback. And he reminds me a lot of Ortega here a few years ago. When you have a quarterback that can run like that, it puts a lot of pressure on the defense. We know that much. Zach he does a great job of following his blockers. He doesn't, like you say, he waits, and then he knows how to get up in there and follow those blockers. And we'll see. It's going to be good.
Another point, and we talked about this, during the break there, and it was something that just came to my mind, is that both defensives have been tested. Okay, I mean, Rio Rancho started out at the beginning of the year and looked like nobody could score on them, and might be one of the best defensive teams in the whole history of New Mexico sports football. And then they played Cibola, and then Cibola came out with a great game plan, and it was through the air, and they got a little bit rattled, but their offense came through. They win the game. 2 weeks ago, Volcano Vista in Cleveland, man, they were down 20-something points in the first half, and in the second half, we talked about game adjustments. Both coaches make game adjustments. They came out, and the players took over the game in the second half, and they both came out victors. But both teams have been, really had kind of a little bit of wake-up calls on the defensive side of the game.
Yeah, they've been pushed, which is good. I think it's probably the best thing that happened in Cleveland, the way Volcano pushed them. It tells you you're not invincible. You got to be ready to play and adjust. What's nice for Cleveland that they got out of that game, they're down 27-7, and they come back and win big. Well, they outscored their opponent, Cibola, 44-13, whatever. So they know they can come back. That just does so much for you mentally. And then Rio got pushed by Cibola, and the way Cibola scored on them early, and that they went through some adversity too. That's a good thing. I think you need to be pushed. And if you're not, you don't know how your kids are going to react. I don't care how good they are, right? You need that, overcome that adversity. It helps you so much.
Well, as you both know, and we talked about it, we got two other teams that are knocking. I don't want to just say two other teams. As we all know, all teams get better at the end of the year if they're healthy and people are going to school, but they get continuity and they get better. And there's two teams right now that nobody's talking about. I mean, it's been Cleveland Rio Rancho. You read the paper, read the thing. It's going to be Cleveland Rio Rancho in the finals, but there's some other teams out there. And I had Coach Beck on my show last week, 2 weeks ago, and basically, they got blown out by Rio Rancho, and since that time, they gotten healthier. They got some of their impact players back, and all of a sudden, they've only lost one ball game.
Yeah, obviously they're pretty dang good, and Coach Beck's done a good job over there at La Cueva. So that's a team that may come up against Cleveland or Rio Rancho, and they're capable. They're capable of upsetting either one of our teams, and we know they're good. And then you take Centennial with Coach Ocampo. Just knowing the history of him, he's one of the best coaches in the state, and his teams get better. His teams get better every week. And yes, Cleveland beat them early in the year, 49-21. But if you had to play them again, that's a tough out with Centennial and Coach Ocampo. So there's teams that are capable. That's why we play them on the field.
And also, with that being said, it's also hard to, if they do play again, is to forget that earlier score, what happened 2.5 months.
They're going to be highly motivated. Yeah.
Well, I mean, they're going to come in and I think, Coach Beck and Coach Ocampo, their resume speaks for themselves. They're, you got to go out and beat them with no matter what players are on their team.
Yeah, that's right. They're really good coaches. Their teams are there, every year. And I can remember Coach Ocampo when he was at Manzano, the great things he did there. So at the same time, the game's played on the field. All the motivation in the world, it doesn't matter. You know what? You got to go out and you got to find a way to make plays and win a championship.
All right, Bruce, we're going to come back. We're going to talk about other events that are going on at Rio Rancho and also across the state. A lot of things are happening, and we'll get to that when we come back after this break.
TurboThreads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sports shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. TurboThreads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for TurboThreads.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth that's real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Hey, welcome back to Steve Davis Show. We have Bruce Carver, Rio Rancho Public Schools Athletic Director. And what a week for you. I mean, we got the big football game. It's, 1 and 2 going on. But guess what? There's state, let's just get started with it. There's so many things happening right now for you in the city of Rio Rancho.
Yeah, I woke up this morning, Steve, and reminded myself that I came back this second career as a district athletic director. I want to have more fun this time, I told myself. So this is really the week where the fun starts. And I sincerely mean that because, it's fall, it's playoffs. We got soccer today. Both our teams from Rio Rancho are going to host games. Girls at 4, boys at 6 against Atrisco, a team that beat them the other day. So that's a big one. And then we have the volleyball game, teams playing each other. And they're both really good teams, and we're going to have have that over at Rio Rancho High School at 6:30 tonight. So Tuesday's a big day. And then Friday, we've got a district cross-country meet at Cleveland at 4, and followed by 6 o'clock. Do not forget, rivalry football game at 6 between our two schools. And then Saturday, hopefully we'll have, Friday, if our girls soccer win, they'll play Friday in Albuquerque, Cibola. They'll play Cibola if they win. Saturday, if the boys win Tuesday, they get a free trip to Hobbs. Saturday morning, they get to go to Hobbs and play Hobbs in soccer in the quarterfinals. So we'll see, man. Busy week.
Well, I tell you, you look at that, and the state champions. We kind of discussed that what Cleveland and Rio Rancho's done in the last 10 years, but your other sports, it's just not football dominated. You've had some great success with basketball and volleyball, and speak on behalf of that. I mean, I know Cleveland won the basketball state championship last year. I mean, you got to be proud of that, but it's not that time of year. And I know something I had to allude to that because that's what you and I love most, probably.
Yeah, we're coming into basketball season too, which I'm excited always to get, to watch basketball. Practice has moved back to the 15th now. It's kind of weird. For so many years, we started November. Start of November was basketball practice, and that was always a day that I would get out and go watch the teams practice the first day. Now it's the 15th. But anyway, we got a lot of stuff to be excited about. Rio Rancho boys won a state soccer championship last year. First one the school had ever won in boys soccer. Cleveland won their first boys basketball state championship last year. On and on and on, and then we have a program, track program like Kenny Henry's created out at Cleveland, where he's won 8 of the last 9 state championships. But it's always neat to get that first one for anybody, right?
Well, I tell you, I think no matter, you hear all these coaches that have won state champions, and really, I think that first one was probably the one that, one, just to get the monkey off the back, if they've been there, just to get that one first, and then the other ones are still all special, but that first one, I think you can relate to that.
No doubt. No doubt.
I tell you, going back, this week, again, a lot of things going on at Rio Rancho. You got volleyball, you got cross country, you got soccer, and then you got the football game, and I think you hit it on the head. Mostly the 6 o'clock start on that football game for most people, because most of the time games start at 7 o'clock, and y'all done a great job. And I think you talked about in deals that you started on this football game last week, and talk about some of the things real quick that you've accomplished before.
Anytime you have a big game, you got to think about security. You got to think about security of the game, and so we're covered there. We're really covered with that. We feel like we're ready from a security standpoint. Then you've got the custodial. You got all these details that go into a game that a lot of people don't know about. Your ticket takers and pre-sale tickets. And one thing interesting, Steve, Rio Rancho High School, where we're having this ball game. Yesterday, we made $6,000 of pre-sale tickets, which is, we've never done that. So that's just pre-selling some tickets one day, $6,000, which we badly need over here for our program. So that's kind of tells you, how it's looking for this game. But anyway, we feel like we're way ahead of the curve, and we've done it before. We've got the administration. We know everybody who's going to be at the game, working the game.
And Bruce, we've run out of time, so I want to thank you for coming on, and good luck to all the athletes and the coaches at Rio Rancho this week.
Look forward to seeing you there Friday, Steve.